The day the aliens arrived, Unibeak was drinking cold coffee at her desk. She worked in the communications center deep under the mountains of Korea. Her job was simple. She listened to space. Most days, she heard nothing but static and the distant songs of dying stars. But that morning, her screens lit up like fire. "What is this?" she whispered. Her fingers moved fast across the keyboard. The signal was strong. Too strong. It came from somewhere past Mars, and it was moving toward Earth. She called her supervisor. Then her supervisor called the military. Within 1 hour, every government on Earth knew the truth. Humanity was not alone. 3,000 ships appeared near Jupiter. They were massive, each one the size of a small city. They moved in perfect formation like a swarm of insects. The ships were black and covered with sharp edges that seemed to cut through the light itself. Admiral Junho Park stood in the war room with his hands behind his back. He was 60 years old, with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in 3 wars on Earth before the planet finally united. Now he commanded the entire defense fleet of humanity. "How many ships do we have?" he asked. 400 combat ready, answered Captain Taiho Shin. He was younger. Maybe 35, with a scar running down his left cheek. Another 200 in reserve. If we count the cargo ships we converted, maybe 800 total, against 3,000. Junho nodded slowly. "Those are bad numbers." "Sir, they are sending a message," Yuna said through the speakers. "Broadcasting on all frequencies. Should I play it?" "Yes." The room fell silent. Then a voice filled the air. It was not human. It clicked and buzzed, but the translation software made it clear enough. "We are the Valoran hegemony. We have watched your species for many cycles. You are young. You are weak. But you have potential. We come seeking peace. Surrender your worlds, your resources, and your ships. Serve the hegemony, and you will live. Resist, and you will be erased. There will be no war if you comply. You have 30 of your days to decide." The message ended. Nobody spoke for a long time. Dr. Hannah Yoon was the first to break the silence. She was the chief diplomat of Earth, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and silver streaks in her black hair. She had spent her life talking to difficult people. She had ended civil wars with words alone. But she had never talked to aliens. "They said they want peace," she said carefully. "They want us to be slaves," Taiho replied. "That is not peace." "I know. But they used the word peace. That means something. That means they want to avoid fighting if possible." Hannah looked at Junho. "We need more time. If I can talk to them, delay them, maybe we can find a way." "A way to do what?" another general asked. "We cannot beat 3,000 ships." Junho was quiet. He walked to the window and looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, an alien fleet waited to destroy everything he loved. His wife, his children, his home, all of it would burn if he made the wrong choice. "Dr. Yoon," he said slowly, "do you believe in peace?" "Yes," she answered without hesitation. "So do I," he turned around. "But I also believe in war. The question is not which one we choose. The question is why we must choose at all." "Ah!" The room went quiet again. "They asked for peace or war," Junho continued. "They expect us to pick one. Surrender or fight. But what if we do not pick? What if we give them both?" Taiho leaned forward. "Both, sir. Dr. Yoon will negotiate. She will smile and talk and drag out every conversation for as long as possible. She will give them their peace." Junho's eyes grew hard. "And while she talks, we will prepare for war. Secret war. The kind they will not see coming until it is too late." Hannah understood immediately. "You want me to lie to them? I want you to tell them exactly what they want to hear. Peace, cooperation, submission. Every word will be true in the moment." "You say it, but moments change, Doctor. That is what it means to be human." Over the next few days, Earth made its decision. On the surface, they accepted negotiations. Hannah traveled to a neutral space station called Horizon's Edge to meet with the Valoran High Speaker. She brought gifts. She smiled. She asked questions about Valoran culture and history. She made them feel important. The aliens were pleased. Humans were being reasonable. Humans were being smart. The Valorans began to relax. But deep beneath the surface, something else was happening. GUNHO activated Ghost Protocol. This was humanity's secret. For 50 years, Earth had been building ships in hidden places, inside asteroids, behind moons, in the dark spaces where no one looked. 800 ships that did not officially exist. Ships designed for one purpose, to strike fast and disappear. Tae-ho took command of the stealth carrier Silent Dawn. His crew was the best humanity had. They trained in silence. They waited in darkness. And they watched the Valoran fleet with hungry eyes. Yuna continued to monitor alien communications. What she found made her blood run cold. She brought the recording to Junho personally. "Sir, you need to hear this." She played the intercepted message. It was Valoran commanders talking to each other. The translation was rough, but clear enough. "The humans are cooperating. Good. Once they lower their defenses, we will take their strongest as workers. The rest will be processed for biological material. Their planet is rich. Their bodies are useful. Peace makes harvesting easier." Junho listened without expression. When the recording ended, he nodded once. "Thank you, Specialist Beak. You have confirmed what I already suspected. Sir, they never plan to keep their word. Even if we surrender, they will kill us." "Yes." Junho looked at the star map on the wall. 3,000 red dots surrounded Earth like a disease, which is why we will not surrender. We will smile. We will shake hands. And then we will show them what humans do when someone threatens our home. He pressed a button on his desk. Every hidden ship in the solar system received the same message. Ghost Protocol is active. Prepare for duality. Peace and war together. Humanity will deliver both. Somewhere in the darkness of space, 800 ships powered up their engines and waited for the signal that would change the galaxy forever. 3 weeks passed like slow poison. Every day, Dr. Hannah Yoon sat across from the Valoran high speaker and talked about nothing important. She asked about their food. She asked about their music. She asked about their children and their schools and their holidays. The Valoran high speaker was a tall creature with 4 arms and eyes like black glass. His name was impossible for humans to pronounce, so Hannah simply called him Speaker. He seemed annoyed by her questions, but he answered them anyway. The Valorans believed they were winning. A few more days of talking, and the humans would sign everything away. They had no idea what was really happening, Commander.
Aye.
Minji Quan moved through the darkness like a ghost. She led a special unit called Black Orchid. They were the best infiltrators humanity had ever trained. Soldiers who could walk through enemy lines without making a sound. Killers who could smile at you one moment and end your life the next. Tonight, Minji and her team had a job. They floated through space in suits so black they swallowed light. Their target was a Valoran command ship, one of the largest in the fleet. It hung in orbit around Titan, Saturn's biggest moon. Team 2, Status Minji whispered into her radio. "In position. No detection? Team 3? Ready." Minji looked at the massive ship ahead. It was ugly. All angles and sharp points, like someone had built a weapon and forgotten to make it beautiful. Through her scope, she could see Valoran guards walking the outer hull. "We go in 3 minutes. Remember, no killing unless necessary. Plant the devices and get out. They cannot know we were here." Her team moved like shadows. They cut through the hull at maintenance points. They slipped past guards who never saw them coming, and they planted small metal boxes in hidden places. Engine rooms, communication centers, power cores. These boxes were EMP devices, electromagnetic pulse weapons. When activated, they would shut down every electronic system in the ship. No weapons, no shields, no engines, nothing. By morning, 40 Valoran command ships carried these hidden gifts, and not one alien knew. Back on Earth, engineer Do-Yun Choi worked without sleep. He was a thin man with tired eyes and hands that never stopped moving. His workshop was buried deep underground, protected by 5 miles of rock and steel. He was building something special, something that had never existed before. Silence, he called it. A weapon that could send an EMP pulse across thousands of kilometers. One shot could disable an entire fleet. How much longer? Admiral Junho asked. He visited Do-Yan every 3 days. The weapon is ready. Do-Yan wiped grease from his forehead. But I need to test it. If something goes wrong, there's no time for tests. When the moment comes, it either works or it does not. Do-Yan nodded slowly. He understood. Humanity was gambling everything on tools that had never been used. On soldiers who had never fought aliens. On plans that could fall apart in 100 different ways. It will work, he said quietly. I built it to work. Junho put a hand on his shoulder. I know you did. That is why I chose you. On Horizon's Edge, Hannah continued her performance. She had become an expert at wasting time. She demanded written copies of all agreements in 17 Earth languages. She requested cultural advisors to ensure no misunderstandings. She insisted on breaks for meditation and meals. The Valoran High Speaker grew more impatient every day. A species talks too much, he clicked angrily. Other races surrendered in days. You have taken weeks. Hannah smiled sweetly. We are a careful people, Speaker. We want to make sure everything is perfect. Surely you understand. A partnership that lasts forever should not be rushed. The speaker made a sound like grinding metal. It might have been frustration. It might have been agreement. Hannah could not tell. You have 72 more hours, the speaker announced. After that, negotiations end. You will accept our terms completely, or we will take what we want by force. Of course, Speaker. 72 hours is very generous. She sent the message to Earth immediately. Junho received it in the war room. Around him stood his most trusted officers. Taiho Minji, who had just returned from her mission. A young pilot named Sunwoo Ryu, who commanded the first strike wing. 72 hours, Junho said. They think they are giving us an ultimatum. They're giving us a gift, Taiho replied. 72 hours is more than enough. Junho walked to the star map. His fingers traced the positions of the Valoran fleet. 3,000 ships spread across the solar system, guarding every approach, watching every planet. They thought they were in control. In 48 hours, Dr. Yoon will sign a peace treaty, Junho announced. She will agree to every Valoran demand. Full surrender. Complete submission. Sunwoo frowned. Sir, we cannot actually let me finish. Junho's voice was calm. At the exact moment she signs, Ghost Fleet will attack. Commander Kwan's devices will activate. Silence will fire. And the Valorans will learn what humanity truly is. Mingi stepped forward. My teams are ready. Every device is in place. Good. Captain Chin. Your fleet? Taiho nodded. 800 ships hiding behind Jupiter. Engines hot. Weapons loaded. My people have been waiting for this moment their entire lives.
Yes.
Lieutenant Ryu, your pilots. Sunwoo straightened his back. He was young, only 28, but his eyes burned with fire. Ready to fly, sir? Ready to fight? Ready to die if needed. Let us hope dying is not needed. Junho looked at each of them in turn. What we do in 72 hours will change everything. The galaxy thinks they know what humans are. Soft creatures from a small planet. Easily scared. Easily controlled? They are wrong. He pressed a button, and a new image appeared on the screen. Earth. Blue and green and beautiful. The only home humanity had ever known. They fight for that, Junho said. Not for glory. Not for revenge. For survival. The Valorans asked us to choose between peace and war. They did not understand that humans never had to choose. We can do both at the same time. He turned off the screen. Get some sleep. Eat well. Call your families. In 72 hours, we show the galaxy what we are made of. The officers left in silence. each one carrying the weight of 1 billion lives on their shoulders, each one knowing that failure meant extinction, but none of them were afraid. They were human, and humans did not surrender. They delivered. The galaxy watched as Dr. Hannah Yoon walked into the treaty room. She wore a simple white dress, the color of surrender. Her face was calm. Her steps were steady. Every major news station in human space broadcast the moment live. Billions of people held their breath. The Valoran High Speaker sat at the far end of a long table. His forearms were folded across his chest, and what Hannah had learned was a sign of superiority. Behind him stood 12 Valoran guards, their weapons ready. "You have come to accept our terms," the speaker said. It was not a question. "Yes." Kana's voice did not shake. "Earth has decided. We will join the Valoran hegemony. We will give you what you asked for. Good. Sit. Sign." A document appeared on the table. It was written in Valoran symbols, but a translation floated beside it. The terms were simple and terrible. Humanity would surrender all military vessels. All colonies would become Valoran property. Humans would serve as workers for the hegemony forever. Hannah picked up the pen. Her hand was steady. She looked at the speaker one last time. "Before I sign, I want you to know something." The speaker made an impatient sound. "What?" "I believe in peace. I truly do. Every word I have spoken to you in these weeks has been honest. I want our species to coexist without violence. Then sign." Hannah smiled. It was a strange smile, sad and sharp at the same time. "But I also believe in survival. And my people have decided that peace does not mean surrender. It means something else entirely." She put the pen to paper. At that exact moment, hidden behind Jupiter's massive form, 800 human ships came to life. Their engines burned blue-white against the darkness. Captain Taiho Shin stood on the bridge of the Silent Dawn, watching his screens fill with green dots. "All ships, this is Silent Dawn. Ghost Fleet is active. Repeat, Ghost Fleet is active. Execute plan duality." 800 ships screamed forward at maximum speed. On 40 Valoran command ships, small metal boxes woke up. Commander Minji Quan had placed them perfectly. They were hidden in walls, behind panels, inside machines. And now, all at once, they released their electromagnetic fury. Lights went out. Engines died. Weapon systems crashed. Half the Valoran command structure went blind in a single heartbeat. On Titan's hidden moon base, Engineer Doyen Choi pressed the button he had been dreaming about for 10 years. Silence fired. A wave of invisible energy spread across space like ripples in water. It moved at the speed of light, washing over Valoran reinforcement ships that waited near Saturn. 1,000 ships suddenly lost power. They floated dead in the void, their crews screaming into radios that no longer worked. Back in the treaty room, Hannah finished writing her name. She put down the pen and pushed the document toward the speaker. There signed, "You have your peace." The speaker reached for the document. Then he stopped. Something was wrong. His guards were touching their communication devices with confusion. No signals. No reports. Nothing. "What is happening?" he demanded. An explosion lit up the viewport behind him. A Valoran ship, one of his own, broke apart in a ball of fire. Then another. Then another. That, Hannah said calmly, is war. She pressed a button hidden under the table. The wall behind her exploded inward, and black orchid soldiers rushed through. They moved with perfect speed, cutting down the Valoran guards before anyone could react. Mingi appeared at Hannah's side. "Time to go, Doctor. One moment." Hannah looked at the speaker. The alien was frozen in shock, his forearms hanging useless at his sides. "I told you, I believe in peace." "I was not lying." "But you made a mistake. You thought peace meant weakness. You thought we would break before we would fight." She picked up the signed treaty and tore it in half. "Humans do not break, Speaker. We bend until we are ready, and then we strike." Minji pulled her away. They ran through corridors filled with smoke and screaming. Behind them, the Valoran speaker finally found his voice. Dak. Kill them all. Destroy their planet. But his orders went nowhere. His communications were dead. In space, the battle exploded across the entire solar system. Lieutenant Sun Wuru led the first strike wing, 50 of the fastest ships humanity had ever built. They targeted Valoran flagships with surgical precision. Wing 2 hit them from below. Wing 3, cover our exit. Do not let them regroup. His ship danced through enemy fire like it was made of light. Valoran weapons were powerful but slow. Human ships were small and fast. Every advantage mattered when you were outnumbered 3-1, Lieutenant. Flagship shields are down. All wings, concentrate fire. Bring it down. 50 human ships opened fire at once. The Valoran flagship, a massive thing of black metal and death, cracked down the middle. Its engines exploded. Its hull tore apart. 3,000 Valoran soldiers died in less than 10 seconds. Taiho watched from the silent dawn. His face was hard, but his heart was pounding. Admiral Junho, this is Silent Dawn. First flagship destroyed. Moving to secondary targets. Junho's voice came through clear and calm. Excellent work, Captain. Continue the assault. Show no mercy. They showed us none. The battle raged across millions of kilometers. Human ships struck and vanished. Struck and vanished. The Valorans tried to form defensive lines, but their command structure was shattered. No orders came from their leaders. No coordination between ships. They were a swarm without a queen. Hannah watched from the escape shuttle as Horizon's edge fell behind. Minji sat beside her, cleaning blood from her knife. It was quite a speech. Minji said, I meant every word. I know. That is what made it powerful. Hannah looked out the window. Stars burned in the distance. Ships exploded like dying fireflies. Somewhere out there, billions of lives hung in the balance. Do you think we will win? She asked quietly. Minji considered the question. I do not know. But I know one thing. Win or lose, the Valorans will never forget this day. They came here expecting slaves. They found warriors instead. The shuttle flew toward Earth, carrying the woman who had just signed humanity's surrender and torn it apart with her own hands. Behind them, the greatest battle in human history continued to burn, and the galaxy watched in fear and wonder as the small, weak species from the small blue planet refused to die. 6 days. The battle lasted 6 days. Admiral Junho Park had not slept in 4. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Soul, watching the war unfold on 100 screens. Red dots for enemies, green dots for friends. Too many red. Not enough green, but the green dots kept fighting. Admiral, enemy formation approaching from Sector 7. 200 ships. Send the third wing. Tell them to hit hard and retreat. Do not let them surround you. Yes, sir. Orders flowed from Junho like water from a river. He had fought in wars before, but nothing like this. Nothing where the fate of every human soul rested on his decisions. Every mistake meant dead soldiers. Every hesitation meant lost ships. He made no mistakes. He did not hesitate. On day 3, the Valorans regrouped. They finally restored communications to some of their ships. A new commander took control, an old warrior named simply the Voice. He was clever. He learned fast. He stopped sending ships into traps. The easy part of the war was over. They're adapting, Taiho reported from the silent dawn. His ship had taken heavy damage. One engine was gone. Half his weapons were destroyed, but he was still fighting. The Voice is pulling their fleet together. If they form a solid line, our hit-and-run tactics will not work anymore. Then we stop them from forming that line. Junho studied the map. Captain, do you see their flagship? It's the new one, where the Voice is commanding. I see it. Heavy guard, at least 50 ships around it. If we destroy that ship, their coordination breaks again. Can you reach it? Taiho was silent for a long moment. I can reach it, but Silent Dawn will not survive. Junho closed his eyes. Taiho was more than an officer. He was a friend. They had known each other for 20 years. Their children had played together. Their families had shared meals. I cannot order you to do this, Junho said quietly. You do not have to order me. I volunteer. Taiho, my crew and I knew what we were signing up for. We are soldiers. This is what soldiers do. Taiho's voice was calm. Just promise me one thing. Anything. Win. Win this war. Make sure my daughter grows up free. Junho opened his eyes. They were wet, but his voice was steady. I promise. The Silent Dawn flew toward the Valoran flagship like an arrow shot from a bow. 50 enemy ships fired at once. The Silent Dawn shook and burned, pieces breaking off into the void. But Taiho held the course. His crew did not run. His crew did not scream. They sat at their stations and did their jobs until the very end. All hands abandoned ship. Escape pods now. The crew ran for the pods. Taiho stayed at the controls. He needed to guide the ship those last few kilometers. Someone had to stay. Captain, come with us. Go. That is an order. The pods launched. 23 people escaped the dying ship. Taiho watched them go with a small smile. Then he turned back to the enemy flagship. For my daughter, he whispered. For Earth. For humanity. The Silent Dawn hit the Valoran flagship at full speed. Both ships exploded together in a ball of fire that could be seen from 3 planets. The voice died. The Valoran command structure shattered again, and somehow, against all odds, Taiho survived. His escape pod launched 1 second before impact, thrown clear by the explosion, floated in space for 6 hours before rescue ships found him. He was burned, broken, barely alive, but alive. On day 5, the Valorans received reinforcements. 500 fresh ships arrived from outside the solar system. For a moment, hope flickered in Valoran hearts. Then Doyon activated silence a second time. The weapon had barely survived its first firing. Doyon had spent 2 days rebuilding it with whatever parts he could find. It was held together with wire and prayer. But it worked. 500 ships went dark. That is all I have, Doyon reported. Silence is finished. It will never fire again. It fired when we needed it, Junho replied. You have done enough. You have done more than enough. Lieutenant Sunwoo had been shot down on day 4. His ship took a direct hit during a bombing run. He ejected over Mars and crashed into the Red Desert. His leg was broken, his radio was dead. Thought he was going to die alone on a cold planet far from home. But Commander Minji found him. Her Black Orchid team was running extraction operations across the solar system, pulling stranded pilots from wreckage and debris. They found Sunwoo, half buried in sand, delirious from pain. Stay with me, Lieutenant, Minji said as they carried him to the shuttle. The war is not over yet. Did we win? He mumbled. We are winning. That is not the same thing. Yes. On day 6, Specialist UNIBEAK made a discovery. She was monitoring Valoran communications, listening to their encrypted messages, when she caught something strange. A signal from far away, from the Valoran homeworld. She decoded it with shaking hands. Retreat. All forces retreat. Hegemony cannot sustain losses. Abort invasion. Return. Home Yuna ran to Junho with the message. He read it 3 times to make sure it was real. They are retreating, he said. It was not a question. It was wonder. Yes, sir. They are running. Junho looked at the star map. The red dots were moving, pulling back, flying away from Earth as fast as they could. The Valoran hegemony, the ancient empire that had conquered 100 worlds, was running from humanity. He opened a channel to all ships, says Admiral Junho Park. The enemy is retreating. Do not pursue. Let them go. We'll have one. For a moment, there was silence. Then cheering erupted across every human ship in the solar system. Soldiers laughed. Pilots cried. Officers hugged each other like children. Junho did not cheer. He walked to the viewport and looked out at the stars. So many had died. So many good people gone forever. The Silent Dawn, 100 other ships. Thousands of soldiers who would never go home. Victory was beautiful. A victory had a price. He pressed the come button one more time. Valoran Fleet, this is Admiral Junho Park of the Human Defense Force. I want you to deliver a message to your masters. Tell them this. Humanity offered peace. Humanity offered war. We delivered both. Next time you ask us to choose, remember that we do not have to. The Valoran ships did not respond. They just kept running. Behind them, they left the wreckage of 60% of their fleet. Burned ships, dead soldiers, broken dreams of conquest, and ahead of them, waiting in the darkness, humanity stood tall, small, young, weak, but not broken. Never broken. The war was over. Humanity had survived. 1 year later, the galaxy had changed. Dr. Hannah Yoon stood in the Galactic Council chamber, looking at the representatives of 30 different species. Some were tall and thin. Some were short and round. Some had too many eyes. Some had none at all. But every single one of them was watching her. She was no longer just Earth's chief diplomat. She was now ambassador to the galaxy. The woman who had signed a surrender and torn it apart. The woman who had fooled the Valoran hegemony with a smile. The human coalition thanks the council for this opportunity to speak. She began. Her voice was calm and clear. We come to you today not as conquerors, but as neighbors. We seek trade. We seek friendship. We seek peace. She paused. The word hung in the air like smoke. But let me be clear. We also seek respect. 1 year ago, the Valorans came to our home and demanded we kneel. They thought we were weak. They were wrong. A murmur ran through the chamber. Everyone remembered the war. Everyone had watched it on their screens. The small species from the small planet had destroyed a fleet 3 times their size. We are not here to threaten anyone, Hannah continued. We are not here to make demands. But I want every species in this chamber to understand something. Humanity does not start wars, but we finish them. If you come to us with open hands, you will find friends. If you come to us with weapons, you will find something else entirely. She bowed her head slightly. That is all. Thank you for listening. As she walked back to her seat, she noticed the other ambassadors moving away from her. Not with anger. With fear. With respect, humanity had earned its place at the table, and everyone knew it. Admiral Junho Park retired 6 months after the war. He was too old, he said. Too tired. He had given enough, but he did not disappear. Instead, he opened a school, a place where young officers could learn the art of war from someone who had lived it. Sir, what is the most important lesson you can teach us? A young student asked one day. Junho thought for a long moment. Balance, he said finally. Peace without strength is surrender. War without purpose is murder. A good leader knows when to talk and when to fight. A great leader knows how to do both at the same time. Like the duality doctrine. Yes, exactly like that. Junho smiled, but his eyes were sad. We won because we refused to be predictable. The Valorans expected us to choose between peace and war. We gave them both instead. Remember this. Your enemy will always prepare for what they expect. So give them what they do not expect. The students wrote his words in their notebooks. One day, they would command fleets of their own. And they would remember Captain Taiho Shin became Admiral Taiho Shin. His burns had healed. Scars covered half his face now. He did not hide them. He wore them like medals. His new command was the Rapid Response Fleet, 200 of the fastest, deadliest ships humanity had ever built. Their mission was simple. If any species threatened human space, the Rapid Response Fleet would be there in ours. Do you think anyone will test us again? His second-in-command asked. Taiho looked out at the stars. They always do. Empires rise and fall. New enemies appear. The galaxy never stays quiet for long, and when they come, Taiho touched the scars on his face. We will be ready. We are always ready now. Commander Minji Quan never got the recognition she deserved. That was by design. Black Orchid remained a secret, its existence officially denied by every government on Earth. But in the shadows of the galaxy, everyone knew the truth. If you planned to attack humanity, Black Orchid would find out. And if Black Orchid found out, you would wake up one day to find your weapons disabled, your secrets exposed, and a knife at your throat. Minji trained new agents now. Young people with special talents, killers, spies, ghosts who moved through the darkness without leaving footprints. What is our purpose? She asked them on their first day. To protect humanity, they answered. No, Mingy shook her head. Our purpose is to make sure humanity never has to fight fair. We cheat. We lie. We break every rule. Because if we do our job right, our soldiers never have to die. The war is won before it begins. She smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Any questions? There were never any questions. Lieutenant Sun Wu-Ru became an instructor at the flight academy. His leg had healed badly. He walked with a limp now and could never fly combat again. But his mind was still sharp, and his experience was priceless. Sir, what was it like? Fighting in the war? Sun Wu closed his eyes. He remembered the fire, the screaming engines, the moment his ship broke apart around him. The cold loneliness of crashing on Mars. It was terrible, he said honestly. I was scared every moment. I saw friends die. I almost died myself. Ow! He opened his eyes and looked at his students. But I would do it again. Every time, because I was fighting for something that mattered. What was that, sir? Home, family, the future. Everything that makes life worth living. He stood up straighter, ignoring the pain in his leg. When you fly into battle, remember what you are protecting. That is the only thing that keeps the fear from winning. Specialist Unibeak became director of the Galactic Intelligence Division. Her job was to listen, to watch, to know everything that happened in the galaxy before anyone else. She built a network of spies and satellites and listening posts that stretched across 1,000 light years. Nothing moved in the galaxy without Yuna knowing about it. Director, we have detected a new fleet at the edge of our space. Yuna looked at the report. Unknown species. Unknown intentions. They were just sitting there, watching. Send a message. Polite, but firm. Ask them what they want. And if they do not answer, then we prepare for everything. Yuna turned back to her screens. That is what we do now. We hope for peace. We prepare for war. Always. The Valoran hegemony collapsed 8 months after the war. The shame of defeat broke something inside them. Civil war erupted. Colonies rebelled. Within a year, the great empire was 100 pieces fighting among themselves. Humanity sent no soldiers to help either side. They just watched and remembered. On the anniversary of the war, a new alien fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. They were called the Orin, a peaceful trading species from across the galaxy. They came with goods to sell and stories to share. Their first message was simple. We come in peace. Admiral Taiho Shin received the transmission personally. He smiled, remembering the words Junho had taught him. We accept your peace, he replied. But just so you know, we have prepared for war too. Just to be sure, there was a long pause. Then the Orin ambassador laughed. We expected nothing less. The galaxy has heard the stories. The species that gives peace with one hand and war with the other, we prefer to call it balance. Call it whatever you wish. We call it terrifying. Taiho smiled wider. Good. Then we understand each other. Welcome to human space. The Orin ships entered the solar system peacefully. Trade agreements were signed. Friendships were built. But the Orin never forgot what they had heard. Neither did anyone else. Across the galaxy, in 1,000 languages, on 1,000 worlds, the story spread. The story of humanity. The species that refused to choose between peace and war. The species that delivered both, just to be sure.